Hey there, I'd just like to ask before the video starts, if you like what you see, please give us a click on the like and subscribe buttons. Hi everybody, I'm Karl Wells. Well, my guest today has been a performer, an actor, entertainer for, well, let's say 30 plus years. And these days he's involved with something called the St. John's Actors Studio, where he teaches young people, well, maybe people of all ages, we'll ask, the skills of the craft of acting, which is a wonderful craft, as we all know. And it's my pleasure to welcome Chuck Herriott to the program. Welcome, Chuck.
Thank you for having me.
You know, it's been a while since I've interviewed you. The last time was in 1983 on the CBC, and I interviewed you with your mom. Mm-hmm. You were in Elizabethan garb, and you had Elizabethan musical instruments, as I recall. Just quickly remind our audience what that was all about.
Okay, well, that was the celebration of Humphrey Gilbert, mm-hmm. And we would go around to various cruise ships that came in and restaurants and things like that, and sing Elizabethan tunes.
Just like the Elizabethans did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was fun. My mom made all the costumes, and my dad had built the instruments and stuff, and so there was quite a crew of us that were part of that.
Yes, your dad was quite a craftsman when it came to making these instruments.
That's right.
That's probably a lost art these days.
Yeah.
Anyway. Last week we were communicating, and I was reminding you about this interview, and you told me that you were on the set of a Netflix series which is being shot here. And I'm really curious to find out exactly what that was all about.
Yeah, I was in Harbor, Maine, at a local store there with, I don't know how many extras there were, a couple of busloads of extras, and a large crew and big cast, and we were filming some scenes for the untitled Netflix series that's being filmed here. So yeah, really.
Do you have any idea when it will be available to stream?
I usually give these things about a year. There's 6 episodes, and there's usually a year in the difference from when they film it to then they've got to edit it, and then they've got to add all the special effects and things like that. So yeah, it'll be at least a year.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
Okay, well, I'll look forward. We'll all look forward to seeing that. Now, let's get back to you. We mentioned your parents. They were both performers. They were musicians, and your father was a craftsman as well, and a teacher. And I'm just wondering, do you think you inherited your performance gene, your acting gene from them?
Oh, most definitely. Certainly my performance side of things. They were both musicians, like you say. Dad played the piano, obviously, but he also played the organ at various churches around town. And he played classical guitar, and he taught classical guitar. And he was fascinated by musical instruments, and so he built lutes, he built clavichords, harpsichords, he built a couple of virginals, and some psalteries, and I've got an example of the only hurdy-gurdy he ever made. Wow. At home. So yeah, he taught me, the one thing that he taught me was to be versatile, because not only did he didn't just build instruments, he played piano, he played with the symphony, he played with various little groups, and he directed the Musici Choir, and things like that. And of course, he played the organ at various churches around, so he was the choir director as well with some of those. But yeah, and he got me my first gigs when I was a kid doing radio plays downtown at the children's school broadcasts or something like that, and that's where I met Michael Cook and John Moyes and all
Just
these.
like me, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so he was doing that, and he'd also be in local films that were being done. So versatility was the one thing I've discovered that you really need to survive here as an actor.
So your brothers both became professional musicians. You were bitten by the acting gene,
Yeah.
though, or acting bug, I should say. When did you realize that it was acting that you were really interested in?
Well, because I was interested in both. In fact, I tried to keep both in the air at the same time. And that kind of fell apart for me in high school when our drama club, the Holy Heart Brother Rice Drama Club, won the St. John's Festival, and we had to go to Corner Brook. And I was, of course, with the Gower Youth Band at the time. Yeah. And well, I had to make a choice. Is it the band or is it the acting? And well, it was the acting. And but I still, when I was in university, I was in music school. I did a year of music school. But then when I didn't like that, I ran across to the arts building, and there was the theater program there waiting for me. So it's always been one or the other. But when I did Sheila Nagira, which is a musical I wrote in 1997, my dad on his deathbed had written quite a lot of the music for it, and so I had my brother Richard help finish it, and my brother Mike orchestrated it, and I actually composed a few tunes for it as well. So I've never really quite let go of the music. It's in me. It's never going away.
Well, yeah, I'm glad to hear that too. And I'm sure your mom is pleased that you're still keeping up with the music.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
So, do you remember the first time as an actor you actually performed something in front of people, be it 2 or 3 people, or maybe a larger audience?
When I was in grade 6, I was cast as the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz at Holy Cross Boys Elementary School. And we performed in Holy Heart Auditorium. And this was back in the day when you projected. There was no microphones dangling around, and not a microphone. Usually nowadays they've got a microphone in the middle of the stage and all the people are told to go to the microphone and say your line. No. This was old school. You project. And my first, as the Scarecrow in that, my first line, Dorothy asks me, can you talk? And my first line was, I don't know, I never tried. And the audience went up.
Yeah.
And that was the moment I knew this
is fun.
This is fun. And I never stopped. Every time there was an audition or something like that, I would do it. Right, and
so when you really got serious, you decided to you wanted to go to the National Theatre School of Canada, which is not an easy school to get into. You had to audition to be accepted for that program, and you were. What was that process like of trying to get in and then realizing, wow, I've made it?
Well, so with that audition, because you're up against thousands of people that are, and they only take 16. In my year, they took 16. So for that process, you have to have 2 contrasting pieces. So you've got a selection of very few Shakespearean monologues. So I chose Iago, and then I just needed something to contrast that, and I figured, well, you know what's going to go down nice with those folks is a Canadian piece. And I had just studied Billy Bishop Goes to War with one of the English courses I was doing, and I was like, wow, it's a one-man show, but he plays all the characters. Right?
Right?
The piano player helps a lot, and he's singing, and it's all that. And I was like, I'm going to choose a bit from that, so I did. And so I had the two pieces, and we auditioned at the Arts and Culture Center here in town. And I forget who had come to see it, but it might have been Perry Schneiderman, who now we're very good friends. At the time, I didn't know who he was. So I did that audition, and then I waited, and I got a callback. And so for the callback, I had to do another piece. And I think I did Jerry, a monologue from Jerry from the Zoo Story, which is a play I did later on in life. So I did Jerry from the Zoo Story, plus I was given the task to do my favorite play in less than 3 minutes. So that was an easy decision.
Is that something they just threw at you,
Yeah,
or did you have
yeah.
time to prepare that?
Oh, I had time to prepare it. I had
Okay.
time to prepare it. Your call back. We're going to fly you to Montreal in 3 weeks' time, let's say. And this is one of the things you need to do. You need a new piece, and you need this 3-minute play. So of course I chose The Wizard of Oz. So it was a one-man version of The Wizard of Oz. I think there was 13 characters that I did in that, and it was 2 minutes 45 seconds. Wow. And I know that because when I finally got into the school, they'd notified me that I was in the school, got in, and CBC here in St. John's had me record it for them live in the studio. So that was pretty neat. But
Excellent.
yeah, fantastic, just incredible.
Yeah. So I imagine it was a 3-year program.
Yes.
And in the last year, I imagine you got to do some full-on productions.
Yeah.
Talk about that, and what kind of roles did you play?
Okay, well, the first production that we did was a play called Road. And I can't remember who the playwright is, which is terrible, but Maya Ardal was the director, and she was fantastic, and I played the lead in that character called Scullery. And we did it in the Andre Page studio, and it was kind of like if you've ever been to the Trinity pageant where you're walking around and there's it's okay. So if you've this was kind of like that. There was little stages in this black box kind of thing, and we just you just walk. I would guide the audience around to where the next action was going to happen. So that was fun, and then we did Not Wanted on the Voyage. By, what's his name, Canadian author. You see, again, I'm terrible with the names, but what's his name? Anyway, it doesn't matter. We had to create Noah's Ark on the stage of the Monument National, and that was quite the production. And then we did The Rivals, and Susan Cox directed that. And then the last play was a musical of Frankenstein that I was supposed to be in. Myself and another actor were supposed to be in it, but we had a conflict because we were both hired to do an actual professional performance of The Last Temptation of Christopher Robin at the National Arts Center. So there was this big debate the year before, will we be allowed to do that and graduate? And we were allowed to do the play in Ottawa and graduate, and that, I'll tell you, that was something special. We left the stage in Ottawa, we bowed, and there was a guy, our director had a Volkswagen Beetle out there, the old school style, and we were walking through the audience. The audience is still in the building, and they're shaking our hands and everything. We're saying, we got to go to Montreal. We're going to graduate. And so we got in. This is 10 o'clock at night, and we hop into the Beetle, drive to Montreal because the official ceremony started at midnight, so we knew we had time. And I remember running up the stairs, and I could hear Paul Thompson on the stage saying, "I don't know if they're here yet, but Chuck Herriott and David Young." And I was at the top of the stairs, and I went, "We're here!" And we went in, and I'm telling you, it was fantastic. The audience just went crazy. We got up onto the stage, and we were hoisted up.
Now,
it was great.
I want to ask you about the St. John's Actors Studio. What kind of things do you teach there? Like, what are the offerings that you have?
Okay, I teach everything that I was taught at the National Theatre School of Canada. Everything except dance. I don't teach dance. I used to teach some elements of stage combat, but I've let my license expire on that one. And, you know, getting a bit old for falling down and stuff. So I don't teach that stuff, but I'll teach aspects of speech, some movement things. I'll do some movement things with neutral mask, and there's lots of script analysis, improvisation, and the main thing that I've focused on in the last few years is acting for the camera. That's the thing that I've been focusing on, because that's where the work is. That's where the demand is.
So what's the difference between acting for the camera and acting on stage?
Okay, well, for one thing, the camera can be very close. That can zoom right in, so you don't need to be loud. You can, in fact, just whisper. In fact, a lot of the actors just whisper, and the microphone picks it up. The microphone does the work. But on the stage, like the Holy Heart, for example, you have to talk to the last person in the balcony. And you have to project your voice to that point. And if they can hear you and understand you and see you, and then your job is done. But if they can't, then they're going to be going, what? And then that's when you start getting the murmurs in the audience. What do you say? What do you say? And they start talking, and then you lose the audience at that point. But yeah, so I am old school. I can get on the stage and fill the room.
So who are your students? Where do they come from? What are they looking for?
Some of them just want self-confidence. They just want a little booster shot of self-confidence, or they've got, they might have a public speaking engagement that they've got to prepare for, and they might, you know, want a couple of tips with that, or they just want to find something, another crew to hang with, you know, another group of people to meet. And I used to teach kids, but I've sort of shied away from teaching kids. I used to teach age 10 up to 16 or so on a Saturday morning kind of thing. But then COVID kind of put the kibosh on that, and I really haven't gotten back into it. But otherwise, they could be 17 to in their 80s. I've had students, and they come for all sorts of different reasons, but they all have a blast, because I keep it fun. Because if you're not having fun, they're not having fun, and it's not a play. You know what I mean? You've got to be able to play.
So what about somebody like me? Could I just go
absolutely
to take a lesson?
Absolutely. If you wanted to work on a monologue or something like that, I could easily do that. Or if you wanted to do, say you decided, okay, you know, I want to audition for this movie of the week that's coming up or something like that. Could I help you with? Absolutely, I could help you with that. I've got the camera, I've got the lights, I've got the backdrop, and I'm a really good reader, so I can pull the performance out of you.
And acting is one of those skills that there's always something to learn, isn't there?
Absolutely.
You're always learning. You never stop learning.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for me in my classes, and the best way I've learned to teach acting is in a group, because we all learn from each other, right? Because and I give a lot of constructive criticism. So I'd say, okay, well, maybe if you did it another way, that might work for you a bit better. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then I don't have to give the same note to everyone because everyone's heard the note. So they'll avoid doing that thing. And then they'll make whatever mistake they make. And that's great. I love it when they make mistakes because then I got something to talk about. You know, if everyone was, I wouldn't have anything to say.
Yeah. What is the landscape like in Newfoundland now for actors? I mean, is it possible to make a living as an actor in this province, or do you pretty much have to live out of a suitcase and travel the length and breadth of Canada, doing work?
Well, I know from the Netflix thing that I'm working on that the actors that they've flown in from other places, they love it here for one thing, but that's what they do. That's what they do. They're going from, I know Natasha Henstridge, right after this, she's off to London to do another thing, right? And she's had a great time here and all that. But for the local actor, it is tough. Unless you're Alan Hawko, but you're still living out of a suitcase and going to do your the Reacher and things like that, or whatever else he does. I guess it depends on how serious you want it to be. Luckily for me, I've got my day job that I can always fall back on, and they allow me the time to come and do this interview, or to go and do a voiceover, or to spend some time on set for the Netflix, and other projects like that. But for me to go and do like a perchance thing like that, that's not in the books for me at this point. But for other people, you've got to be versatile, like, because you can't. I don't think it's possible to really make a living at it, because, well, if you're doing the perchance thing, then that's only for the summer. You've got to be able to have your hands in other fires to voiceover work, and then some of the other film work that happens later in the year. But there's a certain amount of luck that there's, that you've got to take into consideration with that. So that's why a lot of these people have jobs in the production end of things, right?
Do you ever regret not having stayed in Montreal or Toronto, or moved to New York, or London or Vancouver, and trying to settle there and work constantly?
The short answer is no, and I'll tell you why. I know right after we did The Last Temptation of Christopher Robin, because we did that in Ottawa, and then after that we decided we'd take it across Canada as a fringe show. And it was a perfect show for the fringe, because it wasn't a big cast, it was just 3 of us. I played 7 characters in that. Piglet was the main one. Okay, so The Last Temptation of Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin is going to go and fight the Germans in World War II. And Pooh and Piglet decide that it'd be great if they went to help. So that's the premise of the story. And so we took it on the Fringe tour. We went to Saskatoon, and we went to Calgary, and we went Edmonton, followed that, Vancouver, Victoria. Then we took it up to Seashelt, which is near Gibson's Landing in Vancouver, in BC. And then we took it back to Vancouver, and then from Vancouver we did it here in St. John's, and after we did it here in St. John's, it went to Toronto. So I got to see all those cities and kind of live in those cities for the duration of the time I was there. And then I worked in Ottawa for about 3 years, and that was about as big a city as I like to have. Toronto's just, it's too crazy for me, and plus my kids are here, so I was like, you know what, I'm going to come back, and this is where I'm going to.
I'm curious, the 15 other students that you went to the National Theatre School with, are they still acting?
Well, one of them got kicked out after 3 weeks, another one got kicked out after a month because they just couldn't cut it, and then people quit. So by the end of it, there were only 10 of us. Some of them, I think there are two that are really that really did well with it. Rick Roberts and Steve Ross. They're the two. Rick Roberts was the mayor. He played the mayor in Republic of Doyle.
Okay.
So when he was down, we'd hang out a little bit. And Steve Ross has pretty much been at Stratford the whole time, doing musicals and things like that end of it.
So he kind of stayed in
Yeah.
the theater
Yes. Yeah.
realm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rest, one guy works with the I don't know, what do you call it, the government in Ontario, in the legislature or whatever it is. Another guy runs a brewery, you know.
I'm just curious to get your take on this, Chuck. The controversy a while ago about Helen Mirren playing Golda Meir, a former Prime Minister of Israel. A lot of people were upset because they said Helen Mirren is not Jewish, and a non-Jew should not be playing Golda Meir.
Right.
Likewise, long before that, an actor whose name escapes me played Harvey Milk.
Sean Penn?
Sean Penn played Harvey Milk, a gay hero, and they said, well, Sean Penn's not gay, he shouldn't be playing Harvey Milk. I don't, my view is an actor is an actor is an actor. You should be able to play any role.
Absolutely.
Is that your?
That's absolutely my take. I remember a few years, well, it's more than a few years ago now, but it was this part of the century, as opposed to last century. I was hired, and it was at the Elspe Hall, and it was a play called Michael and the Angel. And I had to play a gay man in that production. And Jody Richardson was in the play as well. And he was also a gay man. In fact, he was my partner in the play. And in fact, we had to kiss in the play. You know, so I agree that actors should be versatile enough to do anything.
Yeah.
That's it.
Chuck, it's
Stay fit.
so
Thanks.
nice seeing you again.
So nice to see you too. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, folks, for watching. We'll see you again next time.